Hiya! Today I'd like to show you a sketchbook tour of this Mossery sketchbook. I filled it over a number of months. It took a while. Here's my personal details, so I covered it up. But I started it in March last year. Wow! And I only just finished it last week. And the last page is in another video I just posted last week. So yeah, do have a look if you're interested, but we'll get to that page at the end, so you'll see it here too. The sketchbook is by Mossery, like I said. Sorry. It's a watercolor sketchbook, and Mossery sketchbooks come in refills, so you can buy just a refill if you don't want to buy a full sketchbook, or you can, sorry about that, my details just got uncovered by accident. Or you can buy them with covers. So this one I bought it with a cover. And you can interchange them. So you can take this one out and put a new refill in. You don't need a new cover for all your sketchbooks from them. Or you can just use it as is without the cover. That would work quite well as well. This cover has been a collab with an artist called Art2. I always struggle pronouncing the name, and it was a series of pieces, I don't know how to say it, of artworks on these covers, and I absolutely love this one. And yeah, do check out Archie's work and Discord and everything, because she's amazing and a really inspiring artist. Her style changed a bit since this cover, but I think you will still enjoy it. I just looked for the other cover by her, but I can't see it to hand. I don't really prepare. I'm always jumping in and out from into the videos. As soon as I get a bit of inspiration, I quickly record. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. I'm going to sit down now. I don't know why I was standing up. Okay. So it's like a cover page, it's not a proper page. I always put the date and the date I started and the date I finished. I will check it in a minute. I honestly can't remember which exact day I finished it on. It was either Friday or Saturday last week. And I put like my personal details for someone if my sketchbook got lost and someone found it, so that they know who to contact. Believe me, there's nothing worse than losing a sketchbook. Happened to me. So I started off with some elaborate pieces. I honestly felt like I had to do this sketchbook justice, so it took me a while to get into it. But you'll see later that I kind of broke this because I was too precious about the paper in the sketchbook and I wasn't using it, so it was kind of being afraid of wasting the paper led to me almost wasting the sketchbook by not using it. So yeah, there's a balance. And I used some colored pencils and I think it was paint, like gouache paint or something. I painted these two on a video, but I can't remember if it was a Patreon only or just a public YouTube video. If it was a public one, I will link it up for you so you can look in the description, or it might appear in the card for you, depending on what you're viewing this video on. So yeah, just a couple of flowers. I think it's the same flower, just drawn in two different ways. And then I also did these two, and I was still feeling kind of precious and trying to create some finished pieces in this sketchbook, and my brain just doesn't work like that. I have to just create freely, otherwise I get too constrained and I get into an art block, so I try not to do that anymore. I did some swatches, so some paints from what looks like Horadam watercolors. What's the brand? Schminky Horadam watercolors, and they're super granulating colors, which means that the colors, the pigments in it will kind of shift on the page and become more like grainy in a way. Can't remember what this one was. It looks like it might be... No. Yeah, I should have like put them, but I didn't. This looks like Payne's Grey, which might be Payne's Grey by... Oh, I had it a second ago and it just slipped my mind. Oh yeah, I recognize this one. So it's by... This one's Quinatsujon Gold. Excuse my pronunciation, it's late. By Roman Szmal, and that must be Payne's Grey by Roman Szmal. I might be lying, but I think that it is. And some more schminky. And here I was just experimenting, trying to get used to the nicer feel sketchbook, and I was trying different things. I was using this. It was just a random library book that I took on mixed media, so I didn't put down the title anywhere. So I was trying to draw mixed media. So here's a bit of watercolor, a bit of colored pencil, and then water-soluble pencil on top. And the same here. And I was also playing with some, not sure if this one was, but like masking fluid. I have like a pen with masking fluid. And then something that blew my mind, which I did not expect, was if you put down some pastels that are not water soluble on the page before the paint will not be able to cover it, because pastels are kind of like greasy in a way. So here are some experiments, just playing around, nothing crazy. And I think doing this sort of thing in the sketchbook really helped me get out of the art blocks that I was having last year. Even though I started kind of, look, March, 3rd of March, and this one was almost 3 months later. I was this afraid to use this paper. So yeah, I think it just shows how constrained I felt by the sketchbook and how scared I was of using up the nice paper. So here are more swatches and just trying out different things. Drew a blob and then realized that it looked a bit like a face, so I drew a face on it. Some kind of random blob of color in a swatch of paint. It's not that much going on here, but I think to me this sketchbook was quite important. And yeah, more pastels. What's it called? Yeah, like neo pastels, and apologies for that. I completely lost words in my brain. I don't know why. It's that kind of day. So I used some neo pastels by Caran d'Ache, salmon rose and light olive for these. And then I used Sennelier. This is an oil pastel that I picked up in Copenhagen, and I was just trying to buy a couple colored pencils and things like that. And I came across it, and the person, like, I asked for advice because I was looking for specific things. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get this one too. And the person was like, this isn't what you were looking for. And I was like, yeah, but I want to try it. It looks really cool. And I love the color. So I had to have it. And yeah, I was a bit scared to have it on the plane. So that, you know, I was scared that it would get completely wrecked in the luggage, but it survived. So yeah, Sennelier, all pastel. Doesn't really have a name. Oh yeah, there it is. Cobalt green light. So I was just trying those out and then painting on top of it with some Payne's Grey. Here are some Inktense. Is it Inktense or the other ones? This Inktense and this is similar graphitint. This might be graphitint pencils. I was just swatching things out and like trying to blend things. These are Ecoline markers, and because they use water-based ink, you can dissolve them with water. So I was just trying things out and like trying to mix them up and see what happened. They don't really. I think it's because they're in the marker form, in the brush pen form. It doesn't actually work very well. But yeah, just trying things out and seeing what happens. Here are some explorations of color and like trying to draw people in different ways, starting with blobs and kind of this was all in kind of trying to explore ideas for my graphic novel and trying to come up with a way I wanted to draw the main character. And as much as I love this one, I don't think that it probably would have suited the story, and I might still go back to it because I still haven't drawn much of the artwork. I went for more like this kind of style with glasses on. But yeah, it was a very useful page to kind of explore and see what's possible. This is... what's the name? Caddy papers. It's just a sheet of cotton caddy paper. It's a very affordable brand of watercolor paper. So yeah, I was just... and like what colored pencils. You can see Tundra by Schminke. Yeah, just trying things out. And I was exploring like drawing anthropomorphized animals as humans and trying different ways of drawing hands. And here I was just exploring different things. I started following this artist on Patreon, and they were doing this lovely like different colors swatches. So I decided to do my own, very different than theirs and much less successful. But I was just trying things out and like seeing what happens. And I started off with like some blobs or like swatches of color. Here's more character design work. This I kind of really loved, this effect. And some Caran d'Ache, I think, on pre-painted page. Piece of pre-painted blob. I don't know what to call it. Some swatches and trying to mix colors and seeing like what could be achieved with the few colors that I was trying out. Just like dropping a bit of color in an already done swatch, like that was still wet. I hope that makes sense. And then I was trying to make some gradients. So these are exercises from that Patreon I was mentioning. And yeah, or maybe it was from a Domestika course, I can't remember exactly. But I was just trying to create gradients with better or worse results, as you can see. But to be honest, sometimes I love this effect, so it's not entirely wasted. But like the gradients, I was trying the most neon colors I could get. And I love this kind of opera pink with really dark indigo colors, so I was trying that out as well. Here's more exploration of just swatching and trying to see what textures I could get. It's really not like the most exciting sketchbook to look at, but to me it is very exciting because I learned a lot by just doing these exercises. So it's more of a workbook than, yeah, a sketchbook for show, I guess. Some masking fluid. Here I went to an urban sketching, an urban sketching group, like a local group that was meeting up. And what urban sketchers do is meet up once a month. I think that's quite common for them. And draw on location, and they pick a different location each time. And someone was drawing these palm trees and bushes, and I was trying, when I came home, I was so inspired, I was trying to replicate the technique they were using. It didn't really work for me as well, but then I think it comes with practice as well. So yeah, this is what, like, negative space kind of drawing and indicating some details rather than drawing every single leaf on a bush. Here I was doing a Domestika course, and this was absolutely amazing. My first try, I was faffing around with the water too much, so it didn't really, it dried too fast. And then I added extra water and I just messed it up. But these three are from that course, and I used some references. This was from the course, and this was from Pinterest. Actually, it says both, but I think this definitely looks like from the course. And it was really, really nice course. Absolutely stunning. It lifted my watercolor painting skills so much. I need to redo it again and I need to make my own artwork based on the course, like this one, but like maybe bigger. Yeah, definitely I will have to leave a link to it, because if you know a little bit about watercolor, you will find it really, really good. If you know lots, maybe you won't find it as useful. Or if you're a complete beginner, you might struggle. But yeah, it just went through all the ways of showing light in the painting. Here, I was testing some ink tints and graphitins. Just trying things out. I guess it shows that if you get art blocked, you can make swatches, or you can make sort of finished small pieces or big pieces in your sketchbook. But swatches are a great way of, I don't want to say filling up the page, because you don't do it just for the sake of filling up a page, but you're trying to get your brain kind of into the zone of, or the mode of drawing and making art. Here I was experimenting for something for my other graphic novel. This I'm not quite sure, I was just trying things out, didn't really work. This background will likely feature in one of my graphic novels. I used it and then added, like drew characters digitally on top of this background. And it kind of indicates like rain, and this is the ground, and these are the clouds, and like the rain is falling. I think it worked quite well, and there might be like a puddle here. Yeah, I just really enjoyed experimenting with this and putting traditional into digital and then playing further with that. Here's some more swatches. So I was just trying to see because this paint wasn't very granulating, which worked really well. And I was just trying to see like the granulating paints, how they would behave and what effects I could get from them. Yeah, some more exploration for my graphic novel. I think I might be using one of those. Like, I don't know if I will use it in the final work, but I might. Here is just some exploration. I was trying to imagine this maze for the character to go through, and I was trying different ways of depicting it. This is one of those ways. And here, I'm sorry. Oh, that's rude. I got some paints from Hungry for Paint, which is a Polish company making small business making paints by hand. And this paint set was called Once Upon a Time. And they took a little while to arrive, but they were so worth it. One of them has something in it, like maybe a binder that smells really lovely. Obviously, I don't sniff it. I don't recommend it. It might be, not the best idea, but when you start using it, you can just kind of smell this lovely scent in the air. And I was just exploring, like drawing this character, kind of darker topics, and like seeing what happens. Yeah, just watching this really. Here is Coliro and some red. Trying to mix the two up. I didn't really get what I wanted from it, but it was a nice test to the new materials. It's very pearlescent. And here I think I was just getting a bit fed up, so I was just trying to do things like Christmas trees. And here I was trying to mix the two Coliro, what's it called? Pearlescent paints. And I love Supernova, and I love the other one, Deep Space. But together I couldn't kind of create the effect I wanted them to create when they're kind of blended together. But I haven't given up yet. Here are some swatches from a set of Coliro paint. Not a set, but I bought a bunch of Coliro paints, and I put in... This was really funny. because I ordered some darker paper just to kind of have something nice to test them on, just to see if maybe I wanted to use some black paper on in my work for the graphic novel. And I thought I ordered like a small sheet of paper, but it arrived in an A3 or A2 sized sheet. So the package was massive. I was like, what is this? But yeah, some paints that I got. So Watercolour, which is probably not coming across very nicely on the video, but maybe this black background comes off better. Then we have Supernova on both pieces of paper. Then we have Vibrant Pink. I just can't say no to a pink. Deep Space. Royal Blue. And they're all by Finetech, Coliro. And you have Royal Blue. Then Black Forest, this black one. Really nice, kind of greenish, really dark green. And then I also got Pan Pastel in Payne's Grey. Don't think this is it. Not sure what this is. Oh yeah, they kind of... This is Fairy, Supernova, Vibrant Pink, Deep Space, Royal Blue, Forest. And what's this one? I thought it was... It might have been Forest, but like in a more concentrated form. It's definitely not Pan Pastel. And I also got one pan of Kuretake. This was the red one. And when I got it, I was like so impressed that I since requested a whole set for Christmas, and I got a whole set. And then we have Schminke Volcano Brown, and I had really high expectations from this paint. But the binder is really weird, and it's a really bad paint, to say the least. Here's some kind of gradient that I would try it with these two, I think. And some more gradients on the side. And I also got a swatch card, a dot card from, I don't know how to pronounce this brand, Ayuya. And it was called Shiny Fairy Dust Volume 2. And it had 4 dots on it. And they were quite generous for a dot card. So if you never had a dot card, they're quite small. I will show you. Just looking for it. So generally the dot cards have like a 5th or a 6th of this amount of paint, but these were quite generous. Just use an old box to put them in. So yeah, some swatches from these, and they are really lovely, but they're very subtle. So on white paper they barely show up. And I don't even know if it's showing, it's kind of showing a little bit. And then I got some water-soluble graphite. And there went Light Fast in Seaweed. Oops, sorry. I will have to mute my computer for a sec. Okay. And yeah, I just swatched them dry and then wet. And the Volcano Brown, I gave it another chance, but it didn't redeem itself. And those 3 are really lovely. I love using water-soluble graphite because it's quite soft usually, and you can also make it activate the pigment in it more if you add water to it, and it becomes a bit darker. I don't know if that comes across very well on camera. And there went Light Fast Seaweed. Is one of my favorite pencils to sketch, especially like people. I used it a lot, like so much so. It's a tiny stab, which I currently don't have to hand, but yeah, it's tiny now, so it's a lovely. Somehow this pencil is really easy to control, like the thickness of the lines, more so than other colors. Sometimes different pencil colors react very differently. And some more swatches. This was something that I was trying to do for my graphic novel again. So I was playing with textures and I actually used this bit. And you probably wouldn't be able to tell if you looked at my page. But yeah, I kind of cut it up and I used bits of it and I kind of collared it in the way that I wanted it to be. And here I was trying more ways of like doing those collagey pages. I was just painting full pages of color just to be used. And here I got some lovely inks from a friend, and they had some inks that they didn't really use and they wanted a good home for them, and they sent me those lovely beautiful colors. And I didn't ask them if I could share their names, so I can't, but I'll check with them and see if I can add their name down there in description. I feel like I'm not making much sense talking today, but if you bear with me, we're getting there. We're about more than, yeah, 2/3 in maybe. Yeah, just some lovely, lovely inks. Parker Quink is... I would have never bought Parker Quink before. I tried it, and now it's my most used ink. Like, I use it in my fountain pen, and for painting and drawing with, and with a brush. And yeah, it just is such a nice ink. Highly recommend, especially the black one. I love it. Here are some backgrounds, and I use these. I use this one on a small comic for Whip Comics, Work in Progress Comics. They did an anthology, and as part of the anthology they released a small zine, and this featured in my 2-page comic for that zine. Was it 1 page? I think it was 1-page comic for that zine. And here I was, yeah, like what I said earlier, it might not make much sense to you, but this was very important for my graphic novel. And here I was swatching a couple watercolor paints from Roman Szmal. One is Shadow Grey and the other is Payne's Grey. And I was trying to see how they compare, like when painted with. I love doing these kinds of swatches where I would put a bit of pigment on the page and then drop some water in it, and then it kind of blooms on the page. Here are a few... Now you're seeing a glimpse into my head, if you remember these from Peachtober from last year. Because I kind of, like, I used this as a background to one of my digital drawings. I don't think I've ever used that because I didn't like it. But yeah, a lot of things started here and then I kind of edited digitally. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. Here I got a water-soluble graphite, which is... I will show you in a sec. Found it. It was in a completely different place than I was looking. It's Artgraph Viarco by Viarco, and it's watercolor graphite, and it comes in this pan. And I tend to use this cover to kind of, I get some water onto the graphite, and it kind of dries really quickly. But when I discovered when I put it in the, I forgot the word in English. English isn't my first language, but yeah, into this cover, you can keep it alive or wet for longer. So yeah, it's just a really cool... I love a new art supply. I love something unusual, and this was really cool to try. And since then, I loved it so much that I bought a black one, and oh, this is a very strong, like the deepest black I could ever achieve with anything. Really fun to play with. So I was just experimenting and seeing how I could paint. So I was using a brush to do all of these, like a smaller brush and a bigger brush. I drew myself. Yeah, just having fun, and yeah, seeing how this paper reacts. And this graphite will look differently on different types of paper. and it can be a bit weird to use to start with, but I got used to it and I absolutely love it now. Some of my graphic novel pages will be painted just in this. Here's some character design for my graphic novel. Again, I keep using it, I keep mentioning it. Here I was just trying different colored pencils, and they were light enough that I had to use something not white. Art Graph is one of my favorite ones, and so is Watercolour. But yeah, just trying out different new supplies, especially the white ones, you can't really tell. And I got some new pencils, so by Derwent Drawing Pencils. You can see some of all of these. Oh, actually, I should show them side by side, sorry. So you can compare what they look like side by side. And I'm not sure why I swatched this here, but this is my most common. Oh, I think I was looking at this one and thinking, oh, this looks kind of similar to Dark Indigo by Caran d'Ache. Quite far off. But still. And then I tried out those graphite pencils again. Yeah, all those new supplies. Some swatches by Schminky. Some sample drawings for my graphic novel. Sorry. Let's grab a drink. And here I was planning to draw a character on top of it. But I guess I never got to it. Maybe I will still fill it in. And this one was when I swatched my inks, like I was trying to show them off as if I was using watercolor. And this was the part which I shared only for my patrons. So yeah, if you're a patron, you can see this bit of the swatching process. So I won't go too far into it. Oh, there you go. Finished on 17th, 5 days ago, as of recording. And I finished painting this page on YouTube last week. You can see that. It was for a prompt from Sophie McPike. And that's also from her Patreon. It was an art prompt. Every month she releases a new prompt, and they're usually really, really fun and really exciting and challenging. My throat has just gone really funny, and we're almost at the end. And yeah, most likely this print, sorry about that, by the way. I just had more water and I think it's getting better. So yeah, I will either have this as a print or a sticker for May for Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's this platform where creators can create content specifically for people who follow them. You can join it for free, you can follow artists for free, and a lot of us will share a lot of things for free. I have certainly a fair few pages shared for articles shared just for just publicly for anyone who's on Patreon. And every month I do a print and sticker which I send to your door. And maybe this is a good time to say thank you to all of my Patreons. I really appreciate you, and thanks to you I keep creating every single month, kind of making new artwork, and it's really fun, and I love sharing exclusive content with you and videos as well, like a part of this one. So yeah, I think, well, we've reached the end. So it was 17th, wasn't it? Let's complete it officially. And of course I pick up a pen. I have a million pens, but of course I pick up one that isn't working. So it took a year and a month and a half. Quite a long journal, sketchbook. Why did I say journal? I don't journal. not really. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like, leave me a nice comment. I always love reading your comments. I always reply to them. I don't think I've ever not replied, and if I haven't, I must have missed it. But I do check all the comments I get. Yeah, you can like this video, but also you can subscribe to my channel. I release videos weekly. A lot of them are similar to this one, where I share an art tour, a sketchbook tour. I've been doing those quite a lot recently because I've started finishing the sketchbooks really quickly for some reason. Not like this one, to be honest. But yeah, they all kind of happened at the same time. I'm not making sense, even to myself anymore. So I think I'll start wrapping up. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a lovely day artsing. Until next time, bye! Ta-da!